For centuries, the galaxy had dismissed Earth as a quiet blue world, tucked away in a forgotten spiral arm. Reports described it as primitive, its people naive and peaceful. To the great empires that ruled the stars, Earth was not a rival but a curiosity, a nursery of dreamers still crawling toward the stars. That illusion lasted until the day the fleets came. The Orion Dominion arrived first, their ships vast and proud, carrying banners of conquest. They expected surrender, not resistance. They expected awe, not defiance. When their lead dreadnought entered orbit, broadcasting demands for submission, Earth responded with silence. Not out of fear, but calculation. In the war rooms buried beneath mountains, human leaders watched the alien armada unfold across their skies. They studied every ship, every formation, every signal, and then they began to prepare. Humanity had not been idle. For decades, they had hidden what they built, burying projects beneath oceans, mountains, and clouds. They called it the Earth Shield Initiative. Officially, it did not exist. Unofficially, it was the reason the stars had never been truly beyond reach. Its purpose was not conquest, but survival, for humanity remembered well the lessons of its own history. They had seen empires rise and fall, and they had learned that peace without strength was only an invitation for conquest. When the Orion Dominion's demand echoed again, Earth answered at last. A voice, calm and unwavering, spoke across the void. It was the voice of a commander known simply as Captain Hale. His words were few, but they would be remembered across the galaxy for centuries. This world bows to no tyrant. Leave orbit or be removed. The Dominion's admirals laughed. They had crushed entire civilizations for less. The first volley came from orbit. Ion beams and plasma lances struck Earth's upper atmosphere. They expected continents to burn. Instead, their weapons vanished into a shimmering veil that surrounded the planet like mist. The Dominion's scanners screamed with static as their targeting arrays flickered out. Something had answered back. From the oceans rose towers of steel. From the clouds emerged carriers that had never been seen before. The Earth Shield had awakened. Each carrier was vast, but it was not their size that frightened the Dominion. It was their silence. No drive signatures, no conventional emissions, only the eerie stillness of gravity fields bending light around them. Then came the counterattack. Beams of pure light sliced through the void, precise and merciless. The first Dominion dreadnought split apart without a sound, its fragments burning like falling stars. The others tried to retreat, but the sky itself turned against them. Humanity's hidden weapon had been revealed. The planetary defense grid, a network that made the entire world a fortress. For the first time in recorded Dominion history, an invasion failed before it even began. But Earth did not celebrate. Its people watched the burning sky with grim faces, knowing that the galaxy's gaze had now turned upon them. News of the battle spread faster than light, carried through relay networks to every corner of known space. The innocent blue planet was no longer harmless. The Council of Species convened an emergency session. Every race had heard of Earth, but few had believed it capable of such might. Now they debated what to do with the species that had shattered the Dominion's pride. Many demanded containment. Others argued for diplomacy. A few whispered of annihilation. But before the Council could act, something unexpected occurred. The Orion Dominion, humiliated yet burning for revenge, assembled an even greater fleet. 5,000 warships, the largest ever recorded. Their purpose was not conquest this time, but extermination. They called it the cleansing of Sol. Human intelligence networks detected their movement days before the Council did. Humanity did not panic. They prepared. Across the solar system, old installations reactivated. The moon bases turned into fortresses. Mars came alive with launch silos. And deep beneath the crust of Earth, ancient hangars opened once more. The project that had been hidden even from their own allies was finally ready. The Ark-class ships. They were not warships in the conventional sense. They were mobile worlds, each carrying the strength of entire fleets. When the Dominion fleet arrived, they found not a planet waiting, but a system reborn in fire. The Ark ship Leviathan emerged from behind the moon, its hull reflecting the light of 1,000 suns. Its surface shimmered with adaptive armor, reshaping itself like a living thing. The Dominion opened fire immediately, pouring plasma and radiation into the void. The beams struck the Leviathan and vanished as if swallowed by darkness. Then humanity answered with one shot. The pulse weapon fired from the ship's spinal core was unlike anything seen before. It did not explode or detonate, it simply erased. In an instant, 100 Dominion ships ceased to exist, their atoms scattered into dust. The fleet wavered, disbelief rippling through its ranks. The second shot came moments later, followed by the third. The battle lasted an hour, but when it ended, the space around Earth was silent again. Of 5,000 ships, only a handful limped away, their transmissions filled with horror and awe. The Dominion was broken. The galaxy trembled. The Council could no longer ignore humanity. They sent emissaries, scholars, diplomats, and spies. They sought to understand how a world once dismissed as primitive could wield such devastating power. What they found was not a race of conquerors, but a species that had simply refused to die. They learned of Earth's endless wars, its centuries of struggle, its capacity for creation and destruction in equal measure. They learned that humanity had never needed permission to rise. It had simply done so. In the council chamber orbiting the twin stars of Oralis, the debate resumed. One elder said that humanity must be contained, for no species should wield such weapons. Another argued that humanity had earned its sovereignty through blood and resilience, but when the human ambassador finally spoke, the chamber fell silent. We did not seek war. We sought only peace strong enough to defend itself. If you call that a crime, then we are guilty. That speech became known as the Sol Declaration. It marked the moment the galaxy realized that Earth's power was not born of arrogance, but necessity. Humanity had learned that peace without strength was an illusion, and survival was never guaranteed. They had been innocent once, believing in treaties and diplomacy. The galaxy had shown them otherwise. Now they stood as equals among empires that had once mocked them. In the years that followed, the legend of Earth grew. Their technology reshaped trade routes, their fleets patrolled the border worlds, and their scientists joined interstellar academies. Yet even in peace, humanity remained vigilant. The Earth shield stayed active. The Ark-class ships never returned to their docks, because they knew that somewhere beyond the galactic rim another power was watching. It came sooner than anyone expected. A signal from deep space, older than any known civilization, echoed through the void. It was not a threat, but a warning. The message spoke of a force that consumed entire galaxies, leaving behind only silence. The Council panicked. They turned to Earth, the youngest of their peers, yet the only one that had defied extinction. And Earth answered the call. Within a month, humanity led the largest coalition fleet in galactic history. The Ark ship spearheaded the formation, followed by thousands of allied vessels. The galaxy that had once feared Earth now depended on it. When the enemy arrived, a swarm of constructs devouring worlds, humanity faced them without hesitation. For them, extinction was not a new concept. They had danced with it many times and learned to outlive it. The first battle took place near the dying star of Virel. The swarm darkened the system, its numbers beyond comprehension. But humanity had one advantage no other species possessed: the will to fight even when hope seemed lost. Captain Hale, older now but unyielding, commanded the Leviathan once more. He gave a single order that would define humanity's legacy forever. For every world that fell before we stand fire. The void exploded with light. Fusion spears, kinetic rails, and particle storms tore through the swarm. Each Ark ship fought like a god of war, its weapons rewriting the physics of the battlefield. The swarm retaliated, consuming ships by the dozens. But the humans adapted faster than the machines could learn. They turned defeat into strategy, loss into calculation. When the enemy's core revealed itself, the Leviathan drove straight into it, carrying within its heart the pulse weapon that had once saved Earth. The detonation illuminated the stars. When the light faded, the swarm was gone, the cost was heavy. The Leviathan never returned, yet its sacrifice saved not just Earth, but every species that had once doubted humanity. The Council renamed the system Virel's Hope, and a monument was built. A single human hand carved into the surface of a moon reaching toward the stars. The inscription read, "We were innocent until the galaxy made us strong." Centuries later, that phrase became more than history. It became a creed. Young civilizations learned from humanity's path, understanding that compassion must walk hand in hand with strength. Scholars studied Earth's rise not as a story of war, but of endurance. They called it the paradox of Sol, the idea that the most peaceful species could become the most powerful when cornered. And though Earth never sought dominion, its presence alone was enough to keep the peace. In the distant future, when the stars themselves began to fade, explorers from a new age would look upon the relics of humanity,